Happy Monday, everybody. Hope you had a great weekend and an awesome Christmas extended holiday. And we're glad you're back as we have a great trip report with our friend Matt out in Long Island. We're talking about his trip down to Wilderness Lodge with his wife and two younger kids. And we're talking about, of course, all the fun times in the theme park, some great meals at places like Crystal Palace, Woody's Roundup. How about the Grand Floridian Cafe, and even over at Storybook Dining. But we also talk about the small moments that can kind of catch you by surprise on a Disney vacation that will stand out and maybe be the favorite moments from your trip. Do you ever have those? Because we talk about why those are so special on today's show. Don't forget, today's podcast always brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan that 2026 Disney adventure for no additional cost to you. It really helps support the show. So please help us, and everybody wins. Doesn't cost you anything, and it keeps our podcast going. So check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use that Amazon affiliate link when you do your online shopping. That's at brguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so very much to our Patreon supporters. You guys are keeping us on the air. Huge thank you to every one of you. You can support us as well. It's only $5 a month. And for that support, you get a bonus show called Mike in the Midwest every week. Coming over this week, we'd love to have you at patreon.com/Be Our Guest Podcast.
Ready to take a trip to the world? You found the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. This is where your memories come front and center on our podcast stage.
Welcome to episode 2821 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you. Hope you had a great weekend and again, an awesome Christmas celebration. I know that we're all still recovering because Christmas started midweek last week and it continued on through the entire weekend for most of us, but, I don't know. Are we going back to work today? Or are we still just phoning it in till 2026? I don't know. It's, probably bowl games happening today. And it's that weird time of the year. Do we even know it's Monday? And for everybody that's running marathon weekend here soon, are we just kind of just in a holding pattern until we get to leave for Florida and just a few short days to put on the sneakers and run all the miles? It's a weird time of the year, but hopefully Santa was good to you. You got to have some fun. And if you're going back to work, I'm doing a little work here before we go. Hopefully we take it easy and get the work done. And we're going to keep you company. You know what makes a Monday better, whether it's a great Monday or just a Monday that you got to get through? It's a trip report. It's a virtual trip to Walt Disney World. We're going to do that today with our friend Matt out in Long Island. Matt, thanks for coming on the show and happy holidays to you. Thanks. I appreciate you being here. What's up?
Thanks, Mike. Happy holidays. Thanks for having me.
So we talked a little bit in the pre-show that you have small kids and the holiday season. So surviving, because we are recording this one a little bit before Christmas, obviously, so that we can get this all in and everything can happen as it needs to. So just remind all of us that have the older kids or that have, disconnected from what it is like to have the holiday season with the littles. Are you hanging in there? Are you going to make it? There's a lot of excitement, but there's also exhaustion, correct?
Oh yeah, we're super excited for Santa to arrive shortly. We do probably like a couple times a week, we do holiday lights where we drive around, listen to Christmas music, watch all the Christmas movies from Rudolph all the way to, I think they're watching Paw Patrol Christmas when I got home from work today. But it's super exciting. There's nothing like seeing Christmas, just like seeing Disney through the eyes of a kid. Same with Christmas. Nothing better than seeing Christmas through the eyes of kids. And we're super excited and we're hanging in there.
It's a good parallel. That's a good parallel. Seeing Christmas through the kids' eyes and seeing Disney through the kids' eyes. That's I like that. I like thinking about it that way. Let me ask you this too, because again, I'm so disconnected with older daughters that they're just trying. I don't even know what they. I'll be honest. I'm the dad. Pam takes care of everything. At this point, I just give her the credit card. And I've done that for years and I'm totally happy with that. But so what are the kids asking for? Like, what is Santa's great gift for the littles like this time? I'm disconnected from all
Uh,
this. Like what's cool to
so
be under the tree?
so you're probably not that far off. If Barbie is still a big
Really? That's
my
awesome.
daughter's asking for Barbies. And I'm trying to think there's a company like Melissa and Doug. They do a lot of
I
these
know
like
those.
play
Yeah.
toys,
Yeah.
and one of the things my daughter asked for was actually a vending machine.
Nice.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's they have like just everyday items that we take for granted, and kids think are the coolest things, like a vending machine or like a flip cell phone, stuff like
Oh
that.
my gosh.
And my son who's 2, if it's not cars, it's dinosaurs. So,
But that
or a combo car dinosaur.
I love this though because that's the stuff that hey, maybe we were cool back in the day because I like dinosaurs and like Paige,
Oh
my
yeah,
oldest, she's gonna be 30 next year. Oh my god, I can't believe I just said that out loud that my brain had to comprehend that. But like she got one Christmas, the one thing she wanted. I remember this Christmas clear as day. She kept asking Santa for it, and Santa came through. She wanted a claw machine, like this mini claw machine
oh
thing. I mean, we didn't get her like one you got at the grocery store or anything. I mean, it was like, a couple, like a foot and a half, 18 inches tall or something, but you put like little sprees in it and stuff and had a little bitty,
yep,
claw thing in it. We played that thing forever, but it was like that. Those, like you said, those Melissa and Doug little puzzle things. We got all those. It's funny though, because I guess the classics stick around and maybe kind of with a Disney touch and Pixar. Maybe that's why the Toy Story movies are so popular because they're
yeah,
multi-generational. I mean, those, Potato Head's still around, dinosaurs, Rex, and still got spacemen and cowboys, good stuff. Cowgirls. It's good stuff. Good
oh
point.
yeah,
I
for
like
sure.
that. Oh man, good stuff. All right. So let's jump into your trip because I want to make sure we talk about all this because you got a lot of stuff we want to get into. So let's hear about how this trip came together because got a little surprise. We've had a lot of surprise. I can't do the surprise thing. I can't keep a secret for longer than 5 seconds. Like I can't hold it inside. I mean, it's why I have a big microphone. I'll tell not just my family, I'll tell thousands and thousands of people as soon as I get an idea. It's terrible, but that's how it is with me. So when did you get the idea for this trip? How did it come about? And then we'll dive into everything that you guys got to do. So tell us about it.
So we've always wanted to try. Well, our biggest problem, we've always said, it was we don't really go to different resorts. We did French Quarter for so many times, and finally we were like, all right. So my son he wasn't quite 2 at the time, so we had the benefit of him being technically free, with
Mhm.
food and stuff. So we said maybe we'll try a level up from French Quarter, and we did our research and stuff. And some of the places were kind of not in our budget at the time, and but then we came across Wilderness Lodge, and we were looking at the pictures, and we were like, oh wow, like between the waterfall and all the rocks and stuff. And then we came across the lobby, and we were like, oh wow, that's awesome. That's an
Yes.
awesome lobby. And so Lauren and I, like we've done with every trip, we got the spreadsheet out and we just started saying, okay, what days do we want to go from? We started pricing everything out. And we always said, because Lauren, her parents have done this for her in the past, is they've surprised them with a trip before. And we always said we want to do it. And we were like, maybe this is the trip. We don't want to be like, oh, we'll do it next time. We'll do it next time. Next thing you know, they're old enough where, it's not as easy to sneak around with things and
Totally.
stuff like that. And so we opted to surprise them the day we were leaving for Disney. And we didn't account for how difficult that would be. So it's even as, and if anyone's ever thinking of doing it, you have to literally plan your trip, plus how do you pack for your trip? How do you get stuff for your
Mhm.
trip without how do you hide the suitcases, right? So one of the day we really packed was our anniversary. Instead of going out to dinner or lunch, the grandparents took the kids so that we could pack all our luggage and this is like 3 days before the trip, and we're packing ourselves and the kids, and we still have the stroller and diapers and all that stuff, and we're putting in Amazon orders so that they arrive when we get to the Wilderness Lodge. So it wasn't easy, but that morning, our flight was at 6 a.m. and we just go up to my daughter's room and we wake her up, and she was kind of confused, like what's going on. And my Lauren says, "Hey, what do you think we go to How about we go to Disney today, or something along those lines?" And for probably about 15 seconds, she just like was staring off into, I guess, the ether, almost like she's like still sleeping, and like, Disney, like, and all of a sudden she like turns her head and just like lets out this big smile, like it all finally clicked. She woke up, she realized, and she starts going nuts. And then we get my son, who he's all excited, but I don't think he knew why he was supposed to be excited. He saw my daughter was
He's just
excited.
cool with it. Like, it sounds cool. Let's go.
And,
It's something fun's happening.
right. And we're lucky enough that the airport right by us, about 10 minutes from us, flies directly to Orlando, at least a couple times a day. So we're super excited about this trip. We get to the airport and we're about to take off, and the plane breaks. And we have a 6-hour delay in this airport that's super small. So there's nothing like to do. So now we have a 5-year-old and an almost 2-year-old that we're trying to entertain with like no stores open, nothing. And we had to switch around. We thought we were going to miss our dinner, all this stuff. And we finally get down there. And once we get through the arch of Walt Disney World, and we get to the resort, and we hit the lobby, and we were just like, wow, all this planning, all the extra planning, all the flight delay, it was just so worth it. And on top of that, our neighbors were down there who we're very close with, and we surprised my daughter. We just met them one day for dinner. We did a bunch of dinners with them, park time. And then the final surprise, which I'm sure we'll talk about later, was we did the Halloween party for the first time.
Nice.
And it was great because we did all these surprises, and I mean, it was just watching how she reacted, and it just felt so good to do it. We also had to say, like, just so you know, this isn't going to be all the time. We're not just going to wake you up and just say, hey,
exactly. Yeah, every time you go in the room, like, are we going somewhere today? No, we're just going to school.
Little caveat. This isn't going to be all the time, right?
So let me just throw something in there too, to all the folks that may be getting engaged over this holiday season, New Year's Eve or something. This is how anniversaries will work some years. Some years you will go to a fancy restaurant. Some years you will go on a vacation. Some years you will just pack for a surprise vacation and order Chinese food. That's just how marriage works. But that's an awesome marriage.
I'll take the packing for Disney.
Exactly. It's just how
anniversary.
It's a good marriage.
I'll take that over the fancy dinner any day.
I'm totally with you. It's perfect. When you said that, I'm like, that is exactly how it's going to go some years. It's just, you got to be flexible. It's awesome. So now you guys stayed at Wilderness Lodge. You guys, again, you were down there in August, right? So a few months back. And so you mentioned, though, that you had a really nice room that gave you an opportunity to take advantage of your room each evening, the fireworks view. So tell us about what you thought of, because you did the research on Wilderness, but did it deliver what you were expecting?
So that was almost, we believe we were pixie dusted that room. So we got the regular, I suppose, like the cheapest room, nothing crazy.
Resort view, I guess, is what it's called.
Yeah, pretty much. And so when we get in the room, we're unpacking and stuff. And, this is the first time we also had a balcony, which was awesome. And we were just talking about, when we go use the pool, we can like hang our bathing suits out here rather than have it in the shower, right? So, and we're kind of looking, and we're like, oh, that kind of looks like the top of the castle, but like we couldn't tell. It was still daylight. So we go to dinner that night at 1900 Park Fair. We come back, and it's crazy. You feel like no matter where you are in the resort, you feel like the fireworks are just so loud, and you're like, yes. So like I didn't think of anything at first, and then Lauren's like, she goes, oh my God. She's like, look, you could see the entire firework display from Magic Kingdom. Nice. Like clear as day. And honestly, we were saying, like, if the trees were cut just a little shorter, you could have seen like the castle. Like we had a direct line to the castle, and it wasn't what we didn't ask for that. I think either we were just lucky or we got pixie dusted. And so every night we actually didn't stay for happily ever after from what I remember any night, because we'd always come back and we would just open up the balcony, and maybe we were doing showers or baths or, trying to get the kids down, or then there were nights we just stood out there and just watched it. But we always had the door open and we just watched the fireworks every night from our hotel.
Well, heck yeah, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Have you not seen the crowds trying to leave the Magic Kingdom this week?
Ugh. I've seen the videos.
I mean, if you're gonna have a balcony to yourself or that, yes. No, I know it's not like that in August, but it's just it's a busy week. But yeah, no kidding. I mean, when you have that opportunity, how cool is it? And I've been at Wilderness Lodge, and I've not been lucky enough to have that view, but I hear you though. But like, it sounds like the fireworks are going off right over the lodge, which we know they're behind the Magic Kingdom. They're not even that close,
Right.
but you'd swear they're going off right on top of the lodge. But did the kids enjoy the pool and the atmosphere of the lobby? So cool. It's always kind of a hub of activity. I mean, all that stuff too.
Yeah. So we were able, so now we've kind of gone, like, we're going kind of once a year. So we said this was our first trip that was different than the others. One, usually we've gone in like the winter time. This is the first time where we've really been able to use the pool, because the other times we've gone, like when we went in January, there were days like it was like 35, 40.
Yep.
It was cold. Like, it wasn't pool weather for sure. This time it was like the one day when we went to the Halloween party, it was like 107. It was hot. I have never experienced heat like that before in my life with the humidity.
You should not be going to a
So
Halloween
the-
party if it's 107. I'm just saying, like, I know Disney's all about celebrating the holidays early, but when it's that hot, maybe not. That's 4th of July hot.
Oh yeah, it was hot that day. So but the kids loved it. I mean, it was just nice being in the pool, and they had like a little splash pad for the kids. And it's funny because like the pool, it was warm out, and you go jump in the pool, and it was like not super refreshing. And then one day we were, because it does this normal rain, like, just downpours out of nowhere. I'm in the pool with my daughter, and it just starts downpouring. And my daughter's like, whoa. She's like, she's like, this is crazy. I was like, and I said to her, I was like, oh, we better get out. I was like, so we don't get wet. And she was just like, and she looked at me and she was like, wait, what?
Well, see, it's like
it was probably the
it's perfect dad joke right there. You're earning your dad
perfect
stripes
dad
with
joke,
that.
And you could tell she did like the whole, oh, daddy, like almost embarrassed. Like, I hope no one heard that. And she's 5. So I guess I'm doing my job by
That's exactly
embarrassing
right.
her already.
Yeah, 100%. That's
And
what you do.
that was probably the most refreshing pool day, though. Like, the rain felt so good in the pool. We stayed in there for like a half hour while it was just like downpouring.
That's such a good pool, because I remember again when the kids were younger, we stayed there that one time, and like, I mean, Paige, I think, I can't remember this time it was Mallory or Paige, but one of them just loved that slide. Like, we could not get her off that slide, like the rocks. Like, it was just like, we gotta go. Like, we gotta go back to the Magic Kingdom. Like, we have dinner at, we were just going to like Cosmic Razor, Pecos Bills. Like, it wasn't like a reservation.
Yeah.
But it was just like, I was hungry and I wanted that. And so I told them we had to go. Like, it wasn't like we had to go, but I was like, I am in the mood. Back then, I think they had like fajitas or something at Pecos Bills. I'm like, we are going to Pecos Bills. You get one more slide. And she'd like, whoop, go. I couldn't catch her. And so I just remember that day. I was like, she was being a little snot because like she loved the slide so much. I'm like, okay, stop. Like, I know you love this.
Yep.
And this is why we picked this place, because it looked fun. But we got to go to the Magic Kingdom because I want to eat my whatever it was at Pecos Bills. But yeah, there's something about, even, I mean, at Christmas, everybody raves about Wilderness Lodge, the tree, the Christmassy feel of it. It's undefeated. But year round, I mean, it's a hidden gem because it's right there next to Magic Kingdom. Not a monorail resort though, but I mean, it's so close with a boat and everything. Oh man, it's so nice. I love it. It's a good call. It goes under the radar a lot of the times. I think people forget it's there.
And the one day my son, the heat was getting to him, so we decided not to bring him into the parks. So I stayed back with him, and my Lauren and my daughter had like a mommy daughter day. They went to Animal Kingdom and stuff, and we stayed back. And like I said, in the past we've really just primarily stayed at French Quarter, but I was texting Lauren. I was like, I'm so happy we're here because there's stuff to do in the lobby. Like, we stayed in the cool lobby, and we were hanging out in there because they're going to clean our room and stuff. And I was like, we're at French Quarter. I don't know what I would have done. Like, because there wasn't the lobby. Mm-hmm. There's a lobby, but it wasn't like what they have there. And we were lucky enough that like they had a ton of character interactions too in the main lobby. Mm-hmm. And my son he's always like, he would like the characters, but from a distance. And at one point Pluto saw him, and he got on all fours and started like kind of chasing my son around. And It was like one of those moments where I was like stumbling for my phone to like get pictures and videos right? And I was like, man, I can't believe I'm the only one here to witness this. But like the stuff like that in the main lobby was awesome. And even just sitting there and people watching, like at one point I took him to the top, very top, for a nap, and I just like kind of held him in a rocking chair and I was rocking back and forth. I had my headphones on and stuff, and you're just kind of looking down and you're just seeing like the hustle and bustle of that lobby. Even like one night I went to get something to drink. We got home late and it had to be close to midnight, and I just needed like something to drink. And you would have thought it was like 10 a.m. the way that lobby was going. People, I think, because they had the Whispering Canyon right there, and people are just constantly going in that lobby. So it's like I feel like you go down there, there's always something to do in there and throughout the entire resort for the most part.
Agreed. So one other thing, and then I want to hop into the parks. Well, this also might kind of, also jump into the parks too. But Cool Kids Summer was going on, so that might have been part of that in the lobby. But did you notice that? Because that'd have been kind of right up your kids' wheelhouse in that age group. Did you notice any of those activities you got to take advantage of?
Yeah, they had like a whole like welcome bag when you got there, and they had like every day you had to find Chippendale, and my daughter loves stuff like that, so we always were looking for Chippendale. And yeah, they, like I said, they had a trivia thing one day, like a dance thing one day, from what I remember. They just like every day they had something planned for the kids, and even at the pools they had like a rubber duck race and all that. They had a bunch of stuff, and just like and trivia in the pool. Everyone's just hanging in the pool, and you're just doing trivia in the pool. So every day there was something, and and it's the Cool Kids Summer thing was great because my kids are like the perfect age for it.
Right. That's what I was thinking. I mean, that is, you're right there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah. And they're bringing that back in 26 because I mean, that it was like, I think it was like, it seemed like a really small thing when they announced. I mean, Pam told me they're announcing it. I got to go down for like a media thing at the very beginning of it. And I'm like, it's cool, but like, this isn't it's like, it's going to come and go in like a couple of weeks, but man,
Right.
like everybody saw like, this is the greatest thing ever, and it was like when I went down, I don't have, like I said, my kids are older, but when I went down and got to experience, like, this is what we need. Like families need to have up close experiences with characters, and not only characters, it was like streetmosphere kind of experiences. And, like you said, like activities in the resorts to get people doing things when you're back at your hotel. You don't always have to be in the theme parks. And it was just small interactions everywhere, and it was personal, and it was good. And I'm going to bring.
What was nice too with the characters was they didn't do lines. They were just like, oh, just walk up to Goofy, walk up to Donald. Like, it wasn't like super structured. They were just kind of walking around, messing around with people. Like I said, Pluto saw my son and just started like interacting with him right then and there, which was great compared to like, oh, you're just going to wait in this, you could wait there for 20 minutes and you might not even get to see the character because they might, move on, stuff like that.
Yeah, because that's so much nicer than when, Mallory was little and like we were waiting, because it's like when Frozen first came out and like I remember we waited over 3 hours to meet Anna and Elsa in Storybook Hall. I mean, that was, we got to meet them, but it was a nightmare waiting with a 2-year-old for 3 hours. Like it was, I just remember because it was January. It was just, so bad. But anyway, this is much better. So let's talk about your time in the theme parks, because you mentioned you used rider swap because of the kids' ages.
Yeah.
So the older kid always enjoys that activity. The younger kid becomes like the golden fast pass, or the golden, I guess, lightning lane at this point. But what? Because you had some small moments which I want to talk about that kind of, I always think are kind of the essence of the Disney trip that I think we never talk about on the podcast, but we should more. But what were some of the other kind of just? Do you have any favorite rides, any favorite experiences other than kind of the things you mentioned here that you want to talk about?
Yeah, so the last time we had talked, I had mentioned like the Slinky Dog, how I did it with my daughter on YouTube, and she was so excited to ride it, right?
Yeah.
And that was like her like big thing. So I was in my head before this trip, I was like, I really hope I get my Slinky Dog memory with my daughter, and I'm hoping with my son, even though he's 2, I get some sort of memory. So my daughter she got the ride Slinky Dog, and the best part was she get the rider swap. She thought rider swap was the greatest thing because she rode it with me, and then she rode it with Lauren.
Yep.
And this is like, she did this for pretty much every ride because my son was, wasn't even 2, so he couldn't really ride many things. And we've learned pretty quickly. My daughter loves the Fast and Furious. She likes to ride the roller coasters, and she wants to go on everything. And she was definitely upset she couldn't go on Rock and Roller Coaster that did the flips.
You're in trouble. Watch yourself.
So two of her favorite ones this time were Expedition Everest, which I like. And I always do, when we went on it, we get on, and in the beginning it's kind of relaxing, and I always joke around. I get my dad joke in there. Same place on the ride. I go, just a relaxing little train ride. and, and we're just going up, and she's just like, Daddy, come on. And then when we get to the part where the track is broken, right? And I was like, I guess we're just gonna have to wait for them to get us off. I guess the ride broke, and she's like, Daddy, come on, right? I do all the corny dad jokes because
that.
Once it goes backwards, I mean, just listening to her scream, it's so awesome. And the other one, which is my favorite ride, Tower of Terror, we had the first one we went on was probably the best Tower of Terror ride I've ever been on. I got off and I told Lauren, I was like, I will never have a better Tower of Terror ride. So the ride we get on, now my daughter has no idea. And I was trying to explain it to her. I said to her, I was like, you know what? You just got to experience it. I was like, just hang on. I was like, you're going to fly. So we go all the way up, and it's doing its thing, right? And it goes all the way back down, and she is laughing. She was like, and every time, after the ride, she'd be like, again, we got to go again, right? So they start playing the movie, and all of a sudden they shoot us up to the top again, and then they shoot us right back down again. And I wasn't expecting it, and she is cackling at this point. She's like, why didn't you tell me? And I was like, I did not know that was going to happen. I was like, usually when the movie plays, I was like, it's over. And I said to Lauren, I was like, it caught me off guard. I was like, it just made the ride so much, because they always say no ride is the same. You'll never ride the same ride on Tower. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll never ride a better ride than that one. That one was insane. And that was her first one. So now I'm like, God, now she's going to be upset if this thing isn't
seriously,
crazy.
She got the best ride ever on her first. So you say she's 5?
Yeah.
You are so in trouble if she's doing Tower and Everest and all that and laughing on this at 5 years old. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So she's very tall, and she just turned 5. She turned 5 at the end of June.
You have a daredevil.
So I'm 6'5", and she could run. And so she's very tall. So she's getting the height from me, it seems like. And she could ride everything but 3 rides in the park. And
That's
she was
awesome,
she rode, if she could ride it, she rode it, and she rode it multiple times. For example, when we did the Halloween party, she loves Space Mountain. That's another one. And I like Space Mountain, but the older I get, the more painful it's becoming.
Amen.
And at 6'5",
your height, exactly your pain. Yeah.
So, but for the most part, I have no problem. But God, I knew it was in the dark. I didn't realize how dark it was. I could not see my hand in front of me. And I must have let out 20 grunts because I thought my back was done. I thought it was done. And then you can kind of feel the track above you, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to hit my head. I'm holding on to, I can't see my daughter, so I'm holding her. And then she's like, Daddy, let go. And she's putting her hands up, and I was like, no. I was like, I can't see you. And I was just and then we get jerked again, and I'm like, I felt like I went through 9 rounds of a heavyweight boxing match.
Totally.
By the time I was done,
you're killing me. Because you know what it is too. You know what the worst part of that is when it's totally dark in Space Mountain. I've done it a couple times like that. Is if you've been on it a bunch of times, I think you have. When you think you have the track memorized, right? And so you try to anticipate and lean in, thinking that's going to help, but you make the wrong call, right? You think, okay, I'm going to lean left thinking we're going to break left. And the thing breaks right. You thought the wrong way. Dude, it's it just breaks your rib. I mean, you're like, oh my God, what did I just do?
Right. And I've rode Space, and Emmy's rode it before, and we've rode Space Mountain, and I'm like, all right, I for the most part know what's going to happen. It's almost like Cool Runnings, right, where they're just doing the turns,
exactly,
right?
Like you're in the bathtub, exactly.
And I'm just like, I know this ride. Boy, I did not know this ride at all. And I was like, they changed up the track. There's no way this is another Halloween overlay. Yes. I mean, I'm like, oh my God, I can't see her. I'm the things feel like they're I feel like the track is right above me by inches. So I'm cowering over. I'm trying to figure out when to turn. I turn, yeah, like you said, turn the wrong way. And she gets off and she's like, Daddy, we got to do that again. I was like, I hate to break your heart. I was like, that's a one and done for Daddy. That's it for the trip for Space Mountain. Because that was next day we were leaving. I was like, maybe Mommy wants to go on it, but I was like, Daddy cannot do that one again. And it was, but again, she had the time of her life on it. So end of the day, all the
It's
bumps
worth
and
it. Yeah,
bruises
that's
and
what dads do. But that's when
split
that's when
discs,
mom has to
it's worth
step
it.
up to the plate and go one time. Like I'll stay with my son. Okay, you take one for the team. I'll go get a sweet cream cheese pretzel from the lunching pad. Watch the little guy.
Yep.
Now it's your turn. Let's go.
And I was hoping to get one for my son. And I actually did, and I think you and Scott would appreciate this. I used to not like living with the land. I remember we went on once and I was just like dozing off. I was like, I can't believe Disney has this ride. But my daughter was rider swapping Soarin'. I went with her first, and she rider swapped with my wife. So my son's there, and I was like, "Hey, let's go on living with the land." And sitting on it first, I guess after being in the heat and walking God knows how many miles, right? I was like, this is kind of nice. AC. You're just on a little boat, right?
It's a floating
And then
bench with stuff to look at. I mean, come on now.
and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, we should. I said to my son, I was like, we gotta look for the Mickey Mouses. And then he found like the real obvious ones, right? And then I was just like, oh, look at like the little hidden Mickeys. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I was like they really hide them. And then my son loves like fish also and turtles, and they had like the fish tanks, and
Yeah.
he was going nuts. He's like, Daddy, fishies. And I was just like, I was like, this is actually a pretty good ride. I was like, I have a new appreciation, and I got my moment with my son.
Yes.
And he loved the ride. So now I was like, now every time we go, we have to ride Living with the Land. And I was like, I went from being a little grump about it to like my
Yes.
son.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a convert. There we go. It works. It took a long time. We got you.
Owe it all to my son. And yeah, I was like, you know what? I was like, I get it now. I was like, it's not supposed to be, not every ride. And like I said, this trip was different. Not every ride has to be a million mile, like shoot you out like a rock and roller coaster. Some rides are a little slower, and you just enjoy it for what it is.
So I want to talk about your dining here, but before we jump into dining, because you got some good dining here, I want to talk about those small moments you mentioned a couple times. I got to have like a small moment in the park with your daughter, and also that time where you went over to Beach Yacht Boardwalk, because you mentioned a couple times in the notes about the small moments that kind of made the trip special. And we don't talk about that enough here on the podcast. And I truly believe when I look back on all my trips from the time the girls were, young kids, I mean, even when Paige, like I said, she's 29 now. When we started going, when she was like 4, going to Pop Century, and, we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know anything about anything. We just got a Burn Bombs guide, and that's all we had. It was always the small moments, maybe an afternoon in the arcade during a thunderstorm that we just were escaping the rain. But that was like always like the fun time of that's the time. 3 months later, we talked about that time. It wasn't the Space Mountain ride or whatever that we thought it would be, or the party or whatever. It was the, like the trivia game at the pool, or like, the poolside games that the little DJ played with the kids. It was the small moments. So tell us about those moments you got to have. Because I thought when you put those in the notes, I'm like, that's it. That's the kind of stuff I remember too.
So like 2 moments, one moment we had with kind of our entire family was we were walking to Boardwalk, or maybe we were coming from Beaches and Cream. We had ice cream there, and we were walking to the Boardwalk, and along the way they had those little lizards, right? And we were just like, couldn't believe all these little lizards, right? So we had like a little thing where like we all took a guess, like, all right, how many do you think we're gonna find before we hit the Boardwalk? And I technically won, but my wife cheated, and Lauren, you lost that one, and you lost it. But we were playing like little games like that. So like every time we'd see a little lizard, like my daughter would be like, she's like, lizard, but then like we would count it, right? And it was just like a simple thing like that, and we were just having fun walking from along the Boardwalk area. But then when we got to the Boardwalk, Disney just has so many things I feel like you take for granted or you overlook, right? Because you pay all this money, and you want to see Mickey Mouse, you want to see Donald, you want to ride all the rides, you want to try all the food. But there are little things I feel like that if you just take a moment and just like kind of look, like on the boardwalk, they had the just boardwalk games. Like, you know, you'd be on the Jersey boardwalk or any boardwalk, and it was just like the carnival games. Like, so my daughter was like, "What is this?" And I was like, "Oh, they're like carnival games." And because she saw the stuffed animals, she goes, "Well, how do you get those?" I was like, "Well, you got to win them." So I spent way more money than I
I
should
thought
have
that
for
was
this little
hilarious
bear.
when you put that in the notes. It's the most expensive souvenir of the trip.
There's the most expensive souvenir of the trip was this little,
I
like,
feel
I
you.
probably could have got it at the dollar store, right?
But it's the
And it
memory
probably,
attached
and I
to
probably
it.
could have gotten a better one at the
Yeah,
dollar store, right?
100%. But it's the memory. It's the memory that's attached to it. Is what
Right.
it is.
So we're with a mallet, we are hitting these frogs on this launcher, and we're trying to launch them onto these lily pads that are spinning. And like we're getting close, and now I'm getting a little competitive. But like, come on, I could do this. Like, so I was like, here's another $5.
That's
And I was like,
exactly what they want you to think. That's exactly like, oh, I'm getting close. Yes, you are. $5, please.
Yeah, right, exactly. And I was just like, in my head, I was like, this is on purpose, Matt. You should not be doing this. There's a reason why you can't hit it, because you're not supposed to hit it.
Don't go
And
to
then,
DCA, because they have those in the back at DCA at
oh,
Disneyland. They'll
gosh.
get you there too.
So then I was like, so then we went to like the squirt gun thing where you hit until the balloon pops or the thing races up, right? So my daughter and I do it together, and that's when we get like this little bear. And she thought it was the greatest thing. Here we are in Disney, right? And we just had a great ice cream snack, and we just rode all these rides in Epcot and all this stuff. And here we are launching these rubber frogs onto this like lily pad and shooting a squirt gun to pop a balloon. And she's just having the time of her life. And so Lauren took my son, and they went into like the gift shop. It was just the two of us. And then like as we were about to leave, I was like, all right, Emmy, I was like, you want one more shot with the frog? She goes, yeah, let's do it. Didn't hit a lily pad. Lost another like $10. And I'm like, I was like, gosh, I was like, next time I'm not bringing cash. I was like,
Exactly.
I'm not bringing cash.
Yeah, that's the lesson. Don't have cash. Yeah, exactly.
Meanwhile, we're gonna yacht and beach next time we go, and I'm gonna be probably going to the boardwalk at night, being like, they're not. I was like, this time I'm winning that.
Exactly.
I'm gonna conquer the frogs next time.
You'll have like a mock-up set at home
shoots...
to practice. You'll be like, what? Your Lauren will be like, why do you have a mallet in the basement? You know, what's that all about?
But that was just like a little moment that I had with my daughter. That was just really, you could have done anywhere, but it was. And the crazy part was there were people on the boardwalk walking around, but there was no one there. And I just felt like there's things like that. Like if you want to find certain things, like I know, like Scott's mentioned, just playing like cards, like, you know, in like lobbies and stuff like that. Like there's so many things like you can just do. You take a break from the hustle and bustle of Disney, and you can still have just as much fun, if not more fun. And that, like, crazy enough, that was one of the memories I have the most of the trip, was that little carnival ride games.
And she's going to have that too, because more importantly, I mean, this is, you know, looking at it from an outsider's perspective that wasn't there, but just look at the notes here in your story, is that she got to have that time with just her dad, you know, and like 10 years down the road, I promise you, she's going to remember like joking around those frogs, because how unique is that? Like, let's go one more time. It's like, you know, it's like the like man versus like nature kind of thing. Like it was you two versus the world. Like you were going to beat that frog and get that frog there, and you won. You got the little teddy bear that was victory, you know, personified, and bam, you know, like you two as a team. It's like the Stanley Cup or something. It doesn't matter. Like it was, you guys had your moment, you had your night. I mean, that's special. I mean, that's like a father-daughter bonding thing. You guys have that. That's what it's all about. You know, that's cool.
And the one that we have another one too, that was really my core memory of the trip, was when my son wasn't feeling well. That night we were supposed to do extra magic hours at Magic Kingdom. And we had, like you said, the boat, and he wasn't feeling well. So I said to Lauren, I was like, why don't you take Emmy and go? And she was like, no. She's like, you two need time. You two do it. And I was like, okay, then maybe you guys do the park the next day together. So she's like, okay, deal. We'll do that. So we get there, and we must have rode 12 rides. And we get on a ride and I get right on and see like, oh, we can get fast pass for this. I'd hit it. I was like, from here, we're going to go here. So we did like our first like 2 hours, hour and a half. We just bounced all around, hitting up all these rides. And at one point, she looked at me and she's like, Daddy, I'm kind of hungry and thirsty. I was like, okay. So we got some water and we got a pretzel. We always get the popcorn bucket. We got a popcorn bucket and a pretzel. And we sat down at this random bench right in front of the Gaston fountain.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't say too much. We were talking a little bit, but we were just enjoying a pretzel and some popcorn together. And I kind of looked at her and it was just, it kind of hit me like how much she's grown and all this stuff. And like last time we were sitting on a bench together in Disney, she was a lot smaller. And
You got to be careful, man. You'll start getting emotional if you think too much.
I was like, she's going to be older, like, than she is right now. And that little moment was just awesome. And then we're about to go to Barnstormer, which for like we at one point rode it 3 times in a row. And she was like, do you want to go again? And I was like, no, I have to stretch my legs.
I was going to say, you did it that many times at 6'5". God bless you.
I was like, and my daughter's like, she's like, come on, one more. And I was like, we can come back. I was like, Daddy needs to stretch his knees out for a little bit. So we're walking and we were going to go watch Starlight. And all of a sudden the fireworks, but we were behind the castle by Little Mermaid. And it was like, it's crazy loud. And I jumped and she was just like, looked at me and I was like, let's go in the Little Mermaid. And we just sprinted in there. There was no one in there. And we're in there, we get in the clamshell and I was like, oh, Emmy, I was like, from here, let's go to Seven Dwarves. There's a 10-minute wait right now. There's like, because everyone's watching the fireworks. Wouldn't you know it, we get stuck on the ride for 25 minutes facing a wall.
Oh my gosh.
Facing a wall. And I tell you, we were laughing so much. We were just telling stories. Here we are facing this wall. But after like 20 minutes, we were just like, okay, like it's like let's get going.
Yeah.
But here we are facing this wall. And like we're just like having the time of our lives. Another memory of us just stuck in this clamshell, facing a wall, and we're just giggling, laughing, telling jokes, like saying where we're going to go next, stuff like that. And after that, we go and see Starlight, and we're right by the beignets by Tiana's.
Yep.
And I'm holding her on my shoulders and we're watching it. And like, she's still like, she's waving to the characters and stuff. And so now it's probably, so we do all that, do a couple more rides. And she looked at me and she's like, Daddy, I'm getting kind of tired. And I was like, okay, we can go home. So we're right by the carousel. And she says to me, she's like, what's that? And I was like, what's what? She goes, can we walk through there? And it was open. And I was like, I think so. So we walked through and it's the castle. And we were able to walk through to where the characters usually have their little performances. And there we are standing there with a couple people. And we get to see Starlight, the entire Starlight, the second show.
That's amazing.
From right with the castle right at her back. And I said, you want to hang out for a little bit? She was like, yeah. So we got to see like the whole thing around the curve right in front of the castle. And I was texting Lauren. I was like, you wouldn't believe this. I was like, the things we've done today, just the two of us tonight. I was like, and I thanked her. I was like, thank you for letting me do this. I was like, I think like this is worth every penny of the trip right here, just doing just the two of us. And just ton of core memories for this trip.
God, I love hearing that because that is the essence of why we go. It's not like the size of the hotel room or, we haven't even talked about the meals or anything like that. It's who you're with and making the memories with those people that you're going to, I mean, this is exactly what I love hearing on our show. I love we get to share these stories. I appreciate that. So a couple of things I want to just practically so we can get some information out there for folks. What did you think of the Halloween party for folks? I mean, because, Disney will be announcing the Halloween party in like 2 weeks again for 2026, probably. You guys did dress up, which I thought was cool. I love people that do costumes.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
We did, my son was Donald, and then Lauren, myself, and my daughter were Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Nice.
Which is like, there's a whole backstory to that. Me like telling stories about Huey, Dewey, pretending to call Donald, and Huey, Dewey, and Louie messing with them on like this fake mini phone my daughter has. And
perfect.
And I recently just did it on my cell phone for her, and she was just like, "What? They're back!" Like, it had been a while since I did it. So that was like a whole backstory to that. The Halloween party was great. So it was night one because that was the only one we could go to because the next day we were leaving. So it was definitely crowded. We kind of saw the parade, not really. Like we saw little bits here and there. We wanted to see the Headless Horseman, which we saw. Powerline Max, Lauren and I wanted to see because that was Goofy movie was huge when we were kids.
See, you're younger than
Uh,
I am right there. Yeah, there you go. And you're an
I was like,
influencer.
oh,
If you were there the first night of the party, you're definitely an influencer at this point because that's all that was there that night.
yeah, and you could definitely tell, like, it's crazy. Like, when you watch influencers on like social media, and then you see them in real life, and it's just like, wow, that looks a lot different than when like, you're posted. Like, it's like they're just like all of a sudden, like you could see, I saw a couple influencers. I don't know if they were famous or not, but like they just propped their phone up and they're just like walking around talking like they're talking to a person, and it's just like,
yeah, it's weird.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah,
I was like, you did this 10 years ago, people would be like, oh boy, what is going on with this person
I
over
still
here?
think that. That's why I don't do that because I just think I'm too old. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I feel like my grandma would yell at me if she was still alive. So I don't know. Everybody does it. I don't know. It's fine.
Well, what I thought was great was the trick-or-treating. There were so many stations for the kids to go trick-or-treating. We went with our neighbors also, so we did stuff together, then we split up. During the party, obviously not every ride is open. So really, like when the party was officially going, we tried to do as much as we could. It was tough to really get snacks. I didn't think we got any snacks because night one was just so busy, but it really was cool. Like you saw a ton of characters in the costumes. The kids were loving that, and Laura and I always say Disney at night is so much better, especially like Magic Kingdom is so much better than during the day because with the dark, with the lights and all that stuff, and the dimly lit areas, just say around Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. I think if we do it again, we definitely think we don't want to do the first night if possible because it was so crowded. It was so crowded, but we had a great time. Really did. It was something we always said we wanted to do, and we were able to do it, and we would definitely do it again for sure. And next time, maybe try and do more of the snacks, stuff like that if we could. It was just we in our heads were like, with the kids, like we don't want to wait in line for 30 minutes for a snack. Also, you think about like how much you paid for the ticket. And is it worth waiting in line for 30 minutes just to do something like that? So, but we really, I felt like just kind of walked around, and the end of the night, we got ice cream right on Main Street there. And we all sat at a table and we saw the Headless Horseman go by. We ate some ice cream, and then we got something at the confectionery and took the boat home. But it was,
sounds fun.
I mean, kids were troopers. It was definitely midnight when we were headed out, and they were still going strong.
They're troopers if I could stay up that late. But I mean, there's a lot going on. You're giving them ice cream. I mean, that's
just pumping them with sugar.
Exactly, secret sauce at Disney, boy. When you got the little ones, keep them amped up with the sugar and see what happens. All right, so we got about 10 minutes left, and I want to talk dining here for a minute because you guys had some great meals while you're down there. Just tell us a couple of your favorites while you're there, because you mentioned Beaches and Cream. You just swung by there and had ice cream, but how about a couple of the places where you had some meals? What top one?
So the first night, one thing we did was we saw a bunch of different resorts this time. We really wanted to check out different resorts, and we're trying to be better explorers of Disney, I suppose you could say, because there's certain meals we really like to do every time, and now we're trying to branch out more.
That's my problem.
Me personally, one of my favorite meals. Yeah,
I go the same places because I love them so much, but I always want to try new places. That's like, which one do you do? Like I always want to go to Olivia's, but if I go there every time, I can't. You can only have so many meals. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like it's it's going to be good, and you've spent all this money. Do I want to risk having I mean, you're not going to have a bad meal, I suppose, for the most part. But 1900 Park Fair in the Grand Floridian was at least one of my favorites. The food was great. Character interactions were awesome. Like they really had it. It's really a well-oiled machine there.
Yes.
The characters come one by one to your table. They spend a little time with you, and they kind of feel it out. Like my kids are they like the characters, but they get a little nervous when they come up to them at first. And it was just like we were told the best mashed potatoes on property, and they were very good mashed potatoes. They had prime rib. Food was very good, and character interactions were great. And the Grand Floridian was nice to see. We had never been to it before, or at least I hadn't. And we explored there for a while before dinner. And so that was a new one we did. We did Woody's Roundup Barbecue, Food was pretty good, but the ambiance was awesome. The kids loved it. Even I mean, Toy Story. I was in elementary school when it came out, so it
Stop.
was it was such a cool yeah. It was such a cool environment. Like I think it's coming up on his 30th anniversary or something like that, and I was like, damn, shoot, I was 7 years old when that came out. So like it's just nostalgia, and then, like you said before, it still holds up. Our kids watch it, and so that was another one we did that we really liked. Trying to think.
What about, because you guys did storybook dining, right, at the Wilderness Lodge?
Yes.
So we don't talk about that very often. What did you guys think about that?
Oof. So that's probably gonna be a one and done for us.
That's fine, because I mean it's a good, bad. We'd love to hear about it here so people can make good decisions.
So the food was okay. We didn't care for the food too much, and we were on the dining plan. And it's actually a 2 dining credit. The character interactions were really good, like Snow White, the dwarves, and the evil witch. Like they were really on point, and it's a nice restaurant because they really theme it like the forest and all that stuff. And it was in our hotel, which made it awesome. And that night we did the after hours, so we went right to the boat. The food, that was probably I would say that's probably my least favorite meal. It was an interesting food. Like the one was like this mushroom soup was like one of the things, and I like mushrooms, but I didn't really care for it. But overall, like we enjoyed it, the character interactions. It was one of those things. We did it, and would we do it again? Probably not. But I would say if you are a fan of Snow White or a fan of the character meals, it is a good one in that regard, the character meal part of it.
Nice. Okay. It's good. I mean, I love honest reviews because, again, this is just put it out there because people are always making their ADRs, and we just love to get more thoughts on more restaurants. One other one real quick. You guys went to Crystal Palace. So, again, another popular character meal. So, do you guys have, what meal did you have there, and what did you think about it? Did you have breakfast, dinner, lunch? What?
It was dinner, and we considered the breakfast for the churro waffles, but we did dinner. We enjoyed it. Character interaction was great. The food was good. I think the hit, especially with the kids, was the soft serve ice cream machine.
And Scotty G, he's the master of that thing. It's like 10 feet tall.
Yeah, it was. And it's actually like, it's nice in there, it's like with all the windows and stuff like that. It was nice. And yeah, we enjoyed that meal as well. That was one of we said, the next time we go, we're considering going again. And, we always do. We love Liberty Tree. Definitely heavy for the summer, with the full Thanksgiving meal and 100-degree weather.
It's brutal. But I do it to myself. Like I punish. It's just like it's a punishment. Like it's great when you're there at the table in the air conditioning. But as soon as they give you the bill, outside, the pain starts coming with the bill, and then it just continues for the next 3 hours. Like as you try to. Yep. I mean, unless you do anything more intense than the People Mover, you're in trouble. Like you just like Carousel Progress and the People Mover is about as intense as you can go the rest of the day.
Pretty much. Yep. And one thing that was nice, so we always do, and we say this is like our dining hack for the dining plan, Steakhouse 71. It's 1 dining credit.
So good.
You get the steak, the side, and you get your dessert. And which was nice about Wilderness Lodge was you could take the boat there. So we took the boat there. We went with our neighbors. We had this. They were able to accommodate us. There was probably 9 of us at one big booth, and we all had to have a big dinner together.
That's fun.
It was super nice, and got the 100-layer chocolate cake or whatever it is.
So good.
Which comes with our dining plan, which is like nuts. That's why we always say it's like a dining hack, almost. Like it's crazy that's only 1 dining credit. And we do that. I think we do Steakhouse almost every time because we really like it there. It's good food, great service. And then we walk over to Magic Kingdom after because it's just a nice little walk. You walk off your cake.
I was supposed to say, I mean, you're not walking off that 78-layer cake, but you could, but you say you do. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it is. Yeah, I walked off 2 layers. Yeah, it's fine.
It just makes you feel better. It makes you feel better that 200 steps to Magic Kingdom, right?
In your mind, you walked off all 78 layers. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
That's what we say. It's cool. So, We got to wrap, but and this has been so fun because this is the essence of what a good Disney trip is, because it's about making the memories and it's about the great meals and the fun hotel and the times in the pool, and you got to spend time with your neighbors that you're friends with. I mean, so many cool things happening here. You got to surprise the kids. But as we wrap, is there like one more story or just a tip you want to share with the audience again that maybe would help them plan a better trip, or just one more story you want to share, whatever it is, kind of to close out here on a Monday?
Something Lauren told me to mention was like, actually, we forgot. We did, Emmy and my daughter got pixie dusted to do a test track. We tried to get on and we couldn't get on, and our neighbors had fast passes. And our neighbors went up, said to us, like, if you're okay, we'll take her on. And she wanted to go on so bad. She was like, this car is going to go so fast. Meanwhile, we're like, yeah, but our like, we couldn't get on. I was like, our car goes faster. You've been faster in our car than this, but she wanted to go on. And they went up and said, like, hey, could she come on with us? And they said, yeah, no problem. They let her on, and we stayed back with our son. And it just made her night. She came back skipping and squealing. She's like, you have no idea how fast it was. It was so much fun. So that's something like Lauren's like, you got to tell them about. She's like, you always got to mention the pixie dust that you get. So there was that one. And I would say, I guess the biggest advice is, just taking the moments. I still think about the trip because more so with this coming up. One of the things I think about is just like I was telling you at the balcony, that I come back to the balcony and the fireworks, and there'd be nights where the kids would be like watching something on TV, and Laura and I would just stand out there together, and we just kind of stand. I put my arm around her shoulder, and we'd just be like, I was like, we did it. We're here.
Yep.
We're watching fireworks from a balcony. I was like, all this hard work, and just I feel like even when it's a bad day there, you can always find something to make it magical. Like there's always something you can do, and just enjoy the trip for what it is.
Well, too, and I think that's so true that even like a week can go by on a Disney vacation, a 5-day vacation, a 7-day vacation, whatever, and you never take that chance to do exactly what you just said, to like, find your significant other when you even have kids or not, and just say like, look, we're here. Like we've been looking forward to this for 3 months, 6 months, a year, whatever it is. Like we're here. Like, how cool is this?
Right.
Whether you're at Pop Century and you're sitting at a table in the food court having a tie-dyed cheesecake and a Coke Zero, that's pretty awesome. Cause that's what you kind of talked about 3 months ago, like how cool would it be we're here right now, or on your balcony watching the fireworks at Wilderness Lodge, and I think that's a great point to bring up, because I think a lot of times you get there and you get caught up in all the inertia of the trip, and everything starts happening as soon as you check in, and boom, all of a sudden you've checked out, and you never took that chance to really appreciate that you're in the moment right then.
Yeah. And that 6-hour delay, I mean, we could have really let it ruin our day. And we were just like, once we got on the plane, we were in the air. We're like, okay, we're on our way. We should have already been there. We would have been in the pool already. But you know what? It's all gonna work out. And it did. It was a different trip than we had in January. But this was a trip that we needed, the smaller group, we didn't have like more extended family this time. And, the downfall of that we said was like, at least we had like grandparents last time where Lauren and I could go off and do stuff. We didn't really have that option this time. So it was just like, little moments of just like, hey, we're just going to sit here and watch. We were watching like the Epcot fireworks one day, like quick, and my son, it was crazy loud, because you were right on top of those fireworks. I had never seen those before, and my son was just like, nope, not happening, and we just booked it out of there. So like you try to get your little moments, even if it's like 10 seconds, hold their hand and just be like, look at each other, be like, yep, we're doing it. But just take those moments and run with them.
But you're right. I mean, opportunities though, right? If the grandparents would have been there, you might not have had that night on the boardwalk with the frogs and your daughter, like it's one of those things.
Exactly.
It was meant to be. So Matt, hey, I appreciate the time. Thanks for making this Monday so awesome for all of our audience. And again, we're recording a little bit before Christmas. So Merry Christmas to you, Lauren, and the kids. And just, I'm glad we're friends, and I appreciate you taking the time to come on the show.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. Merry Christmas to you, and look forward to talking again.
All right. We'll sure do that. All right. Don't forget, show is brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan to get to your favorite Disney destination here in 2026. Just swing by the website. We'll help you out with that. No additional cost to you. Check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you do that shopping here throughout the rest of the year and into the next year. It is beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so very much to our Patreon supporters. You guys make all these shows possible. I can't thank you enough for that. You can support us as well, just $5 a month. And for that support, you get a bonus show called Mike in the Midwest every week. Come on over this weekend. We'd love to have you. This week, actually. Patreon.com/BeOurGuestPodcast. Give me a follow on the social media. I'm at BeOurGuestMike. I'd love to see you over on Instagram. Also, X.com and Threads. And join us in the Clubhouse. That's our free Discord server. It's kind of like a message board / live chat. Got about 1,600 listeners of the show over there a lot of the time. And we're talking Disney. We're talking sports. We're talking life. It's a hangout. It's the nicest Disney community you can ever find. And it's free for everybody. So come on. Your invitation's waiting for you right there at beourguestpodcast.com/clubhouse. And join us this Sunday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. It'll be the live call-in show. Scotty G will be joining me, and we'll take your calls. Just call in. The show's turned over to you guys. So we'll talk about whatever is on your mind. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, or Twitch. That's where you can tune in. All right. We'll be back again on Wednesday with more of your listener questions. But until then, for Matt out in New York, I'm Mike here in Missouri. You guys have a great Monday. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.
You've been listening to the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. If you have questions, comments, or would like to be a guest on the show, please visit our website at beourguestpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you real soon.